through her farmland, and she just moved away from the farm. That's where she was born and raised, and she moved away into a little apartment building just this year.
My name's Isabel, and my question is, what inspired you to become an author?
That's a good question. I always wanted to write books, and everyone told me not to write books. So I did other things instead. They told me not to write books because it's a hard way to make a living. And that's true. But when you're really passionate about something, you know what, I don't want to write newspapers or science stuff anymore. I really want to write a book. So that's when I guess I was inspired. So that's hard. It takes a long time to write a full story to the point that you're happy with it. And then what happens is that it goes, I have an agent, so it goes to my agent, and my agent sends it back to me. Have you guys ever handed in a paper and your teacher sends it back with all kinds of red marks all over it? Or
like trees and how she liked to climb them. What inspired you to write about that?
So my first book, Trouble in the Trees, is that's the whole basis of the book. She loves to climb trees, and her little townhouse complex where she lives in bans it, so she fights that. So it's part of who she is to love trees. But that was inspired by a friend of mine. She's 18 now, but at the time she was 12. And she loved to climb trees. She climbed all the time, and she'd say, Ilana, come on, climb this tree with me. And I'd go like maybe to the second branch, and she would go all the way to the top. And I thought that was really cool. So she was definitely kind of who I modeled Bree after. I didn't have a lot of time to write because I had little boys at home. So it took 6 months, probably writing about 2 hours a day. And then after that, because of all that back and forth I already talked about with the publisher and the agent and the editors, it took 2 years to get to this point. All the books about Bree, they don't really talk about genetics or any of that kind of stuff, but I started to kind of bring that into a few of my books. The one that's going to be published soon, the boy actually has a genetic condition that affects his breathing. So I'm starting to use some of that from my past jobs. Some of that. The top part there, this is where my computer